Okay, at 6:32 p.m. I will call the regular board meeting of the Dachshund School District to order as public notification of meeting that will join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Kate is on vacation. Jeff.
Here.
Dennis.
Yes.
Brittany.
Here.
Jennifer.
Here.
Alyssa.
Here.
Ned.
Here.
And Bruce is absent and myself is present. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Ned. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I see nobody in attendance for public comment. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed out?
I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda if we can remove the item of authorization to hire and that is subject.
For the three positions that.
Correct.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Motion by Dennis, second by Alyssa to approve the consent agenda with the noted change of removing the authorized administration to hire the following certified staff members. All those in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Is it your thought to take that on as a separate?
Please.
With that said, we will go for the next motion would be authorize administration to hire the following certified staff members effective at the beginning of the 2026-2027 school year. Nathan Tad, Brookfield, Wisconsin High School Social Studies teacher. Trevor Benz, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin High School Mathematics teacher. Andrew Udell, Milwaukee, Wisconsin School Psychologist. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Alyssa. Is there any other discussion?
Question would be, are these three positions replacement of teachers, existing openings, or are these hires because of the Houston agreement we have?
So, school psychologist would be related to the Houston position. High school math would be due to a resignation that we had. And our high school social studies is also a resignation that we had from our existing staff.
10-4. That, one other question I have is on that psychologist, was that built into your formula
Yes.
about the pay from Houston?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, I think we're down to support staff matters. Acknowledge the acceptance of letters of resignation, retirement support staff. We have a resignation, do it looks from a custodian. Acknowledgement of hire. We have the district administrative assistant, special education paraprofessional, three of those. And then we have the names of those. Up next is information. Cecil 6, Bruce is gone. WSB, K is gone. Financial statement.
All right, the financial statement. We have our, obviously our annual checking account, beginning balance on $93,315.34, with an ending balance. See that we had a little bit of revenues that came in there, around $20,000, just about 1,100 expenses, ending balance $212,197.39. Our commercial credit account began the month in negative $7,663.58. We were also negative the prior month, but as you can see, we did have some receipts. We did receive some state aid that came in. We had some revenue, of course, some payrolls that were also done. We had our summer payrolls that we had to complete for our teaching staff, and the ending balance there is $651,464. Our CD, which is still continuing to accumulate interest, we're $815,105, and that will come to at the end of, I believe, the end of this calendar year, if I'm correct on that. And then we have our investment, our LGFAP account, which is the account that we use to handle, some of our debt service, and our Fund 46 that has a total amount of $1.151 million. Any questions on that? Then we can move probably to our overall kind of budget, year-to-date budget. We've had some challenges with Skyward over the last almost 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it's been not only a statewide issue, but any other entity across the United States that's using their services have been impacted, is our understanding. So our systems have kind of been down, so we have not been able to close the books 100% on the last school year, unfortunately. So the one thing I would point out, all of our expenses and our activities are almost 100% accurate. There may be a little bit that's hanging out there, but nothing sizable. When I say a little bit, I'm saying maybe a couple $1,000s or even just a few $100, very small invoices that maybe we have not processed that we need to book to June 30. However, for all intents and purposes, we're expecting that our expenses currently are spot on. You'll notice that we have not had a transfer yet to, and that's where Skyward will be coming in helpful at the moment. We've not been able to do our interfund transfer, which we do each year, to Fund 27, which is our special education fund, and Fund 50, which is our food service fund. Taking some of those into account, what will end up happening is we'll end up having a little bit less of a transfer into both of those funds than we had originally expected. You can kind of see that. Looking at Fund 27, we will end up transferring over, I believe, a little bit less than what we had originally expected there. And then in Fund 50 is the same thing. I think that total, I want to say we have about half of what we had last year transferred over. So in the end, I think we're trending favorably. We'll probably end up being actually having a little bit of a surplus at the end of the year. It's kind of what we're expecting our final budget number to come out, and it'll be audited and all that kind of stuff at the beginning of August. And I think we'll be in a very good position. Obvious question is, why would that be the case? Well, we had a number of positions, obviously, that we hired. We had some food service positions. We had our tech ed position at the beginning of this year that resigned that semester. So all of that was not hired. We obviously we had a retirement mid-year that also had an impact on that. And so as positions have been turned over, those positions have been rehired at lower salaries. We had a number of our support positions, the special education aides that came in. All of those positions were replaced with individuals that are not receiving healthcare benefits. And then, there's a number of people throughout the year that make changes to those kind of things. So our typical open enrollment year, for example, is in May or June. This year we did June, but I think we'll be back on track to be more in May. But that's not the case for every employer, right? So if somebody loses their job or there's a change that takes place and that becomes a change, sometimes we have people who come to the office at various points of the year and they don't take our insurance or benefits, and other times they are picking them up. And so there are fluctuations that happen, throughout the year. In addition to that, we had some grant revenue that was able to come in as well through our technology area, and we also actually had a few less repairs that happened. We save some money that way. And our legal services overall have been reduced year over year, so that's been very positive as well. So all of that kind of working together in addition to some of our school-based budgets that also didn't fully spend to their max allowed, put us in a position to get us as close to the balances as we could. So in the end, I think we're going to end up being over, just a little bit more than having some savings that will boost our fund balance, which I think will put us in a much stronger position, especially as we move forward into the beginning of next year with taking on uses for students as well as our payroll for some of the positions that obviously are back in the spring as it relates to uses for, because we will probably have a little bit of a cash flow pinch as we start the year because we'll be receiving tuition payments, but those payments will be coming as time goes on because uses for doesn't receive their aid any earlier than we do, right? And so we'll have some of that will be. Any questions on that?
Now that the budget, since we're budget year, much lower level, and we didn't have a chance really to talk officially without a quorum there, but the question I was asking earlier about the Quarles Bradley, you explained to me that they were used for the referendum, and we just got an invoice in January. Will any of their costs be transferred to the 2027 budget?
No. So they're Quarles and Brady, we were involved with them for our legal pieces that were related to our referendum. And they also helped us, obviously, with our short-term borrowing about a year ago, putting all of those things together, and they're helping us again. So we will receive a bill from Quarles and Brady in 2027, but it'll be for the 2027 budget. So those, I think your question was related to invoice. That will all be booked to June 30th.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, up next, administrative reports.
So July is traditionally a pretty quiet month around here, except for this one, because we have had a lot of kids in the building every single day. And today was the first. I've done summer school for 10 plus years and I've never had to do a tornado warning, and we had to do it twice today. So very good. Oh yeah, and that time was awesome. In fact, one little boy, as we're moving them into a different space, he's like, "Are they today up time?" I said, "I know. The weather doesn't care." So anyways, we have been having camps in the morning. So right now, our kids are learning dances in the gym, and then Mrs. Kane is teaching Camp Critters. So today was all about bunnies. We had a bunny in the building, and so those kinds of things are happening. The custodial staff is working real hard, and our den kids are getting really good at being displaced and moving around stuff. Because now the hallways are full of rugs from all over the building, and so it's like a little obstacle course, and they're doing a really nice job of just staying off of the stuff. I did end up interviewing last week for a new FIAD teacher, and of course that's too late for this meeting, so we'll talk about I'll bring that to you for next time. However, the candidate that interviewed the strongest is tentatively accepting a position here, so that makes me feel better, so we have teachers in place before kids start to come here. I am worried about, I don't know what you're right, I am worried about kindergarten. That's the grade that has the highest class size. And not that it's, outrageous, but what I know after being in this position for a number of years is that kindergarten, 4K and 5K are the grades where I don't always have a good idea of who's out in the community. And then every year there's kids that this is their first school experience, and then I can't predict for them. So far, since we had made class lists from our current 4Kers into 5K, We've had about 4 or 5 new students that have come in. Now, granted, we've had 2 that have left too, right? So that's why I keep watching it. And so it makes me a little nervous that we could have really high body numbers. And that's it's pretty important.
Yeah, echoing that July tends to be kind of that quieter time in the summer for sure. But a lot of big things this month for us. We were finally able to commit the master schedule for the high school specifically, which is a big deal because we can't complete the rollover until that happens. We can't do a lot of things, and a lot of that hinged on making sure we were able to hire for our middle school positions and shift people around to make sure all the things were covered. So that's a big deal. That's done. Schedules are in our schools and being tweaked as we move into August. All of our staffing positions have been filled at the middle school, high school level. So that feels really good at this point in the summer of going into August. And Jenny said having people in place is a big deal because the last thing we want to do is scramble in August to try to fill a position. So that's really good. And sports are starting to kick up for the school year too. So coming off of the newly formed co-op agreements that we have in place, everything is rolling. I'm fielding a lot of questions. So is Mr. Thompson from parents from Hustisford and parents from Dodgeland about coaching assignments and all those types of things. So we'll probably have a lot more questions tomorrow night at the all sports meeting, which is happening in the gym, and just excited for those things to start going. And at this point, I'm just about ready for kids to be back in the building. So sooner than we realize. I walk past them, I see them, I hear them. So I can hear them. Yeah. But things are really good. So I think we're in a really good place right now, and excited for August.
On the student services side, it's just a lot of system work and preparation work. Today, I was working a lot with the system now that we've gotten a lot more answers from the state of what our systems need to look like for both districts, and making sure it's as easy as possible for the teachers to access their caseloads. So working through a lot of that information. We've also had a unique influx. I've never had so many summer evaluations for various reasons, parent requests, birth to 3 transitions. So my eval team is working really hard to kind of work through those and still meet our timelines, and recognizing it's their summer too. So we're trying to be efficient as we work through all that. That's what it's like in the world right now.
Well, the open enrollment in your board bulletin, there's 143 incoming and 139 outgoing.
Correct.
What makes up the majority of the 139 are those Dodgeland students or Hustisford students that are choosing to go elsewhere?
So those are Dodgeland students that are choosing to open enroll out. So overall, our number is probably, so at first glance, it kind of looks like that's a small number. The differential there is about 4 students. But when you look at it as compared year over year, it's a positive number for us. So last school year, or the one we just closed, June 30th, we had about, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but we'll say maybe 25 total students that were open enrolling out. And the impact to us was pretty significant in the amount of money that we were sending out for open enrollment. So now, the goal really is to at least be breaking even on open enrollment. So with the Hustisford students that are open enrolling into us, which is the bulk of our open enrollment, and correct me if I'm wrong, the bulk of our open enrollment applications have been from Hustisford, the new ones that are coming in. And so that's helping to kind of shore up, I think, some of the outgoing students. And so now we've pushed over that break-even point, and we're at a +4 as it sits kind of right now. So that will be essentially what's happening is we'll have some additional revenue coming in due to the open enrollment, and then we'll also be essentially saving money by not having to send it out. So the overall impact probably to our budget is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of maybe $300,000 year over year.
Can I say though, I think David is, because Hustisford is still their own district, if any of their students are open enrolling out, we don't know that.
Was that part of your question?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know out of that number, because, you know, we're getting the uses for kids in, the open enrollment numbers, and, you know, $200,000 is nice, but that's literally 2 positions when you think about it. So, but all the new hires that we had, and but those numbers, projected numbers, and the money that we're bringing in from our agreement with uses for, do you still feel that we're gonna be ahead of the ball as far as revenue? Or is it to the point where we had to hire so many new people that it's gonna cost us actual money to have the agreement with uses for?
Yeah, no, I think we're still trending right where I'm kind of expecting. We won't really we're still at that point, we're not 100% knowing what that number is going to be. So, you know, we're still estimating that the overall impact is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 140 total students, part of which are included in that number. So total, probably just tuition only is probably going to be somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 100. Is kind of what we're expecting. But again, that's still being determined. So as the month goes on, you know, it'll get more and more. So USIS is going through some of those students we know about because they told us, whether through open enrollment or through tuition, they told us they're going to be part of that. And then there's a number of students that are on a list that USIS has, and they're working through that to determine what's happening with those students. There's a group that they don't know. If it ends up landing, that that they can, when they show up, then we'll know. And these are all the ones that are probably not as, maybe they're not accessing technology, or they're not as organized, or whatever the case may be. You know, but contact is, they're trying to make contact, but contact isn't being reciprocated. So working through that. But we're still expecting total impact to be around 140 students, which would include the open enrollment.
Any other questions or comments?
Tuition in students is not in this number.
Correct.
Really 100 more coming in
What we're expecting.
than what we see here because
And they wouldn't be, I mean, essentially, they're being treated as if they're open enrollment because there isn't really anything other way to treat them, but they won't show up that way for our open enrollment numbers. None of our open enrollment numbers will report that there's 100 students coming here through the tuition arrangement. That's going to be like a separate item.
I mean, I guess the root of my question was, and is, we compared the number of teachers the last couple months.
Yep.
You know, those are all dollar signs flashing in front of my eyes. And I just want to make sure that we're still in a good spot with our open enrollment numbers and the agreement that all of a sudden we're not $200,000 short.
Yep, I mean, as it sits right now, I still feel confident about it, as confident as you can be with numbers that are not firm. So,
Just a comment, what was on the line item for finance committee was to talk about having the district earmark all the funds that the expenditures for that use deferred agreement, so we can look at it and say, here's the number, here's what we spent on that roughly, right? Compared to what we all sat here and agreed on months ago, but here was the true cost around that.
yep.
We didn't have a quorum, so we weren't able to get at that, but that was one of the asks we're going to have the district go. Earmark that, put that as a line item. What did this cost us?
And
Our taxpayers deserve to know.
And one of our goals with all of it is to really try to be as close to balanced as we possibly can. The money coming in, that we spend it as close to it as possible because it will have implications obviously on our tax levy and our state aid and all those kinds of things. Not this year, in essentially October of 27th. October 27th. So we do want to be as close as we can to that.
Any other questions or comments? Now we'll move on to new business. Discuss the Adjunct academic standards.
So this is just something that you've done, year in and year out. It's kind of, this is a little bit more perfunctory. We're adopting the DPI standards, educational standards for all of our students. We do that each year.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Brittany. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Discuss approved WASB board book agreement.
So I'm not sure if people had a chance to maybe look at some of the materials around board book, but and we don't have to make a decision tonight if people aren't comfortable with it. But one of the thoughts I would like to recommend to the board is to maybe move towards a different organization in which we can kind of run our meetings and house our information and do all of that. And Board Book is a partner with WASB, and it's an opportunity then where we would kind of conduct our meetings. Essentially, it's going to substitute Google Docs for this platform, and that platform is Board Book. And it's probably the biggest difference. I think one easy thing to kind of look at is, and obviously the cost that goes with that, about $3,000. But it will house all of our information. It will be a little bit easier for us to navigate. One of the things I think that's come up in questions that we talked about here at the board level is to try to encourage transparency and make things more digestible for our community members. And this is a tool that helps to integrate with our system, would make it much easier. It wouldn't be as clunky for us to post information and do those kinds of things later on when we're having some of the meetings and then trying to get attachments. We can have all that stuff integrated right into the system, and it would be much easier for that. It really would take a lot of, I think, the preparation work and things like that on community shoulders, quite honestly, to prepare for the meetings and get all the documents that we're looking at here tonight. For example, in Google Docs, Google Docs is more of a tool that wasn't really designed for board meetings. It's designed more as a collaborative space in technology where we can have a lot of people using that and getting into that space, whereas Board Docs is something that was designed and created specifically for running and holding meetings. And so I think it would be something that would be of benefit to us, and there are districts that use it. In my experience, I think the district that used it, it was very good. And so questions about that or thoughts? I don't know if people had a chance to look through some of the materials that I shared, but I think it would be worth giving a try. There'd be probably some training that we would go through a little bit, but I think on the user side, for all of you, it would be different. It would be different. It would probably, I think it would be more efficient. I think our meetings would be more efficient, and that's one of the things I've kind of heard from members as well, is to encourage, our ability to be efficient and transparent with the public. I think that would help us in that regard.
Any idea how many other school districts are using it?
In the state of Wisconsin, I want to say there's maybe, I want to say maybe like 50, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more, something like that. And I mean, and that's just in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, they're a product that's being used all over the place, and I'm not sure.
What do we pay now for?
We don't pay anything.
Lines?
Yep, we don't pay anything for that.
And then was this included in the upcoming budget, or where would the $3,000 come from?
Yep, we would include that in the budget.
What would the add-on to the budget?
3,000.
3,000, I thought.
Yeah,
Was that a one-time or an annual fee?
it'll be an annual fee.
Probably about the same.
Yep. Yep. And, essentially what's in front of you is basically a one-year commitment at this moment. We can certainly see how it goes, and if it's something we don't want to do, we wouldn't do that. It would be an opportunity then to house all of that. It could also be a little bit more, obviously with Google, it's out there. We're in a closed environment to some degree, but, we are out there in the world, right? Whereas this would be a more closed thing for us, and we would have that, all of our documents that will be uploaded into that, they would also work with us to archive our information. And again, I think part of the reason why I'm making the recommendation, again, is for, I think, easier transparency with the public, integrated beautifully, so then the entire agenda and all the artifacts would be right there for people to go on our site. They could watch the meeting and they could click along on those documents very seamlessly, which I think would be helpful instead of us trying to pick and choose certain things to upload or supporting documents and things like that. And I think the ease of use within the meeting would also be of help for all of you as we're in the meeting navigating that. And I think overall, in the end, I think Kimmy's preparation work will be made much easier. So.
To me, a perfect example is if this was in an annual budget and it was identified that that's a strategy, that we're having issues here, we're spending money there, I understand it totally. But the part that scares me is, again, locally at the meeting, we're just approving stuff for next year's budget. And we don't know how it all fits together.
Yep, and
So,
yeah,
just
we could also, just move it down the line too, go on to do it in August or September or whenever. I mean, I think it's a direction that I would encourage the board to move in. Again, we don't have to, it's obviously there's a cost, there is a cost to it. I think it would operationalize kind of what we're trying to do a little bit better. Again, it's a software program that's essentially designed to do what it is that we're using Google Docs to do, where Google Docs is not necessarily designed for what we're using it for.
Is there like a 30, 60, 90-day trial, free trial offer that they?
Yeah, if we ask those to have them try.
In demo, and I tried to look at it and I was a little bit. But that's probably just a little bit.
The program is easier than the contract reading.
So I'm also, because you said that the supplier company will help you archive the files, but inside the contract it's saying that we can't guarantee archival. If it's saying that it's not intended to serve as a permanent data storage facility, the subscriber, meaning us, would be responsible for archiving our own data that must be retained on a platform or a location outside of Workbook. Although supplier aims to maintain subscriber data for a rolling period of at least 5 years, no guarantee is made that the subscriber data is always available. That will be available at such a length of time. So it sounds like we would still need a strategy to archive that data on top of already paying for this contract.
So I can check on that a little bit more and see what that means, because I know part of what they will help us to do is to move over like Google Docs in particular, as long as the systems connect. So I can look into that a little bit further.
And if we would terminate the contract, I think it's important to understand where would that data go? Do they keep it? Does it come back to us? Do we have to pay to get it back?
Yep. That's a good question.
Maybe check with other school districts that are using it to see what their support level is.
I can do that.
They don't have good customer service. It's kind of important to know.
How long does it take you to load all of these documents in?
It depends on the month. I mean, obviously this month there isn't much on. I mean, it takes a good day or two, depending on how much material there is.
So you would still have to upload documents such as this though into the workbook, right?
There will be some, yep. There will definitely be some uploading and things like that. Yep.
And how would Workbook be more integrated to our website than uploading a PDF file onto our website?
I don't know the answer to that, but I understand that it's kind of set up in the way that we need to set it up, that it should be able to be integrated very seamlessly, so it wouldn't be extra steps. Whereas right now, it would be extra steps to do that. So essentially the same uploading that we do to Google Docs, we're going to be doing that same process when we upload it, on
So
our website.
like simultaneously,
So
it would
the idea is that
upload together.
that they would be integrated in some way together, so that extra step would sort of need to take place. It's kind of that first step, and I think it is an opportunity for us to have more information available to the public in that way.
I guess I would recommend that we take no action tonight and we can get some answers to some of the questions that came up. Bring it back, probably run through finance first. And we can come here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Is that okay with the board?
Fine.
Okay. Up next, discuss and approve addition 5-year-old kindergarten teacher position.
Yeah, so I think, I was heard a little bit of that from Jenny a little bit ago. Our kindergarten numbers are starting to escalate. We're kind of at that point where, it's our highest grade level. And, at that sensitive learning age, we're certainly concerned that we may not have, we may be at a mismatch there where we currently have 45 students that are enrolled in the kindergarten level. And that's currently with 2 teachers. And so the thought is, we haven't had our typical probably rush that we know is going to be happening at that age. These are students that we don't sometimes know are out there, and they tend to come a little bit closer to the start of school. And so, if we start to push over that 50 mark or so, that's a lot of little ones for one person to manage. We probably would recommend at that point to be moving to 3 sections. And so, something we kind of mentioned to the board several months back that that's always a possibility. And I think now, as we're moving through the summer, we're kind of at that point. It's probably the last 11th hour point where we've kind of been holding off and saying, well, we have to, but so I think we're kind of at that point asking for a recommendation to move forward to hire another kindergarten teacher with the anticipation that we're probably getting more students.
We have 2 current, and previously we had 3, right?
I moved one of the kindergarten teachers from last year into the first grade. So I moved that person back to kindergarten because the person that I moved to first grade has been following that group since 4K. It would be a good idea to not have the same teacher for the 3rd year.
Say it again, please.
So we had 3 kindergarten teachers last year, and one of the kindergarten teachers was moved to cover first grade because that group is bigger. And that would be the 3rd year in a row that teacher will have moved to that group. So if we have a 3rd kindergarten, it would move that person back to kindergarten so that they're repeating the grade that they just taught. And I think it's important to note that of the 45 students that are in here, there are only 3 of them that are coming to us from Eustis Park. I think that's important to know because this is not raising it because of the agreement.
It's a good thing. Meaning that we have so many young kids coming up.
So then would we really be, we're adding the position for 5K, but then what happens to the first grade 3 section? So would we hiring a first grade teacher? Is that the intent or?
Yeah, we have to have, yes, we have to
Still
have.
have to have we need another first grade teacher. Okay.
So I think we're saying we need an elementary teacher. And the idea being based on the 5K enrollment increase. So, because you're right, that based on the way that was sort of described, it's like first grade teacher over and then we need a first grade teacher.
I will make a motion to approve the addition of a elementary teacher effective for the 26-27 school year.
There's a
Second.
motion by Jeff, second by Nick. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Discuss and approve first reading of revised school board policies.
So we typically would obviously then come to the board with the second reading. We had our policy meeting a week ago, and unfortunately we did not have a quorum, and so as a result of that, I decided to bring this forward to the board. purpose being that these policies need to be in place by September 1st. Just want to give ourselves that opportunity then to have the second reading in August, and then it would take effect by September 1st. All of the policies, are very much in relation to some changes in the state legislature, Act 59 around relationships with students, grooming, all this kind of thing. And so all of the policies you'll see are policies we currently have, but there have been some adjustments to those policies based upon the change in the legislature. So all of them have the exact same language in them. You'll notice the changes are exactly the same throughout. They just apply individually to each of the various employee groups, including board members. So you have some board members, we have administrators, teaching staff, and then support staff as well. And that's the reason why we have multiple different policies with the exact same change.
Thinking about flags policy, remember there was no policy with.
We don't, we didn't talk about any of
The
that.
committee didn't have a quorum,
Right.
so we couldn't actually take on any business. But that's something that the committee could potentially add on their agenda the next time we meet.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the first reading of the revisions? The board policies.
I move to approve the first reading of the revisions as printed.
Second. Motion by Alyssa, second by Jeff. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Future agenda items, do we have anything for that? Board books.
We are going out for, you said future agenda items, we are going out and doing a meeting day for finance. It's not a night for agenda, but it's meeting for all.
Just one meeting or just like regularly when you guys are meeting, date and time?
We're going to start with the one meeting and see what, we're able to bring back our recommendations to the board to see how the whole board felt about any further conversation we have, so we know what direction that the board would like us to go.
Advanced meeting dates is listed. Up next is the motion to adjourn.
I just want to go back real quick. We were looking at the finance meeting dates of 10th, 17th, and 18th. Was it any of those?
What was it?
The 10th, the 17th. 10th is preferred, 17th is second, 18th is third. In order. Either of those, we're just looking for one. So can we put down the 10th, would that be okay? Schedule. And then what time do we want to try to do that at? 5, would that work?
So, 5:45 is put in there for.
5:45 it is.
What do you say? Sorry,
Fine, it's
okay. Summer's
5:45. Yeah.
Let's go bring the kids. They asked,
7 o'clock it is.
they asked if they could come today, and I was like, no.
There's chairs for them.
Yeah, next time, come on.
Either day over.
Okay, all right, the 10th at 6.
Perfect.
I also wonder if we should consider, because hopefully as many of us will be here for our August annual and regular meeting, if there's any sort of video welcome message we want to get, like prepared, like, I don't know if we want to maybe put that out there, see if we could record while we're here, like a welcome to the staff back for September, before the professional day. I guess I'll propose that to the administration and say, I am open to participating if fellow board members would be open to like give a welcome message.
Just to clarify, that's Monday the 24th, the 25th is welcome back.
Yeah, so for,
She's
If
saying for
there's
staff.
anything
You're
I know.
proposing- Oh, yeah.
Are you proposing the 10th?
so more of us could come in if.
We can
I just
also,
wanted to-
we can also send
we did
information to
years
you, you can send us a video.
Right.
Yes.
Like a welcome back.
Individual.
Well, we did individual like 2 years ago. I don't know how people feel about it. I think it's nice to have board members in our way, like welcome back our staff. We could, I don't know if other people would attend on the 10th, if you didn't want to submit a video separately, because I think a group video would be easier to put together potentially than like all the individuals as one. Just throwing it out there.
If you need support, then support.
So we could put it out there for the 10th if people wanted to show up for the video.
And we could be able to state that
Oh, okay.
somebody else can fill it.
We'll hold the picture of your head. Stay.
I mean, we could do something the following week possibly, or I'm not sure how involved it wants that you all are, you want to be, or is it as simple as saying, welcome back, have a great year, or are you going to do it?
That's like kind of how it was 2 years ago when we put individual ones together, and I don't know if Brad took those and put them together, or if Jessica had. I just thought it was nice to do that 2 years ago, and so I was pitching it to see if there was, we're running out of time, if we were gonna try to do it for this coming year.
You guys can piggyback it off of the existing, just so.
In hindsight, we should have probably tried to do something now in July, instead of waiting to so close in August. But
So I recommend 10.
I will say staff likes it,
Yes.
they like it.
And I think it's a good message, and it shows support for their work, and we're all, one team, one fight. I think that's important, and I don't think it probably needs to be super fancy, but just kind of the encouragement and.
This was it. Dave started us off. Everybody kind of just took a chance to, a little video, or a blurb that was added to the picture.
do we wanna just do
Agreed,
it
staff.
individually like that?
I think everybody did do a video with their second call.
Yeah, somebody, you could have done just words in your picture. Yeah.
Do you want to just send it in individually and then put it together?
Maybe what
Well,
we
it's
can do
staff
is,
likes. You want to see a video?
if you're open to persuasion and ideas, maybe we can chat about it briefly and kind of come up with something.
Send us some
easier.
recommendation.
Send something to you and say,
Good idea, though.
well,
Just drop it out
hey,
there.
this is our idea, this is what we think we should do, and I'm just like that. Okay.
Okay, let's do a second.
You got it.
At first, we're gonna be able to send it back. Do something here, I'm all in. A ball like this, I'm all
We'll meet,
in. To be fair.
if it's separate, I'll just like, we'll have a meeting place and I'll video you and I'll send it in.
10-4.
But you're coming in on the 10th, so we don't even need to worry about it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be here on the 10th. So don't worry about it, we got you.
Lock it up, you know.
No days guaranteed, are we getting deep? Okay.
Anything else? Otherwise, motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Motion by Jeff, second by